Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 8th grade program of studies, informational night. My name is Shannon McKenna. I am the principal here at Windham High School, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all this evening. How many of you, is this your first 8th grade parent information night? Oh, we have a lot of newbies. Great. Well, welcome. We are very excited to have the opportunity to introduce some of our team members here and then obviously to go through what you and your students can expect from Windham High School for next year. I know I had the opportunity to go down to the middle school for a couple classes today, so your students have heard some of the presentation that we're about to give to you this evening, and it was really wonderful. The students were fantastic, and so I know that we are going to have a really great incoming freshman class. So I am going to introduce you to some of the other folks that we have. We are really fortunate here at the high school to have a bunch of people to support you and your students on your journey with us. So over to my left, your right, we have a few of those people who I will introduce you to. We have 2 assistant principals here at the high school. We have Mr. Chris Blair. He was unable to be with us this evening, but we also have Mr. Mike Kashigan. Here he is. Some of you may know him from the middle school. Then we have our Director of English and Language Arts, Miss Jess Benson. Our Director of Social Studies and World Languages, Mr. Josh Bashalini. The Director of Mathematics and Business, Ms. Kathy Croto. Our Director of Science and Engineering, Ms. Carolyn Govin. And then we also have our athletic director here at the high school is Mr. John Hall, and our director of fine arts is Susan Khalil. They could not be here, but if you have any questions about those departments, you certainly can reach out to them, and I know we have their contact information on some of the slides for you this evening. I would also like to introduce you to the MC for the evening, really, and the main act is Miss Julie Lichtman, who is our Director of School Counseling, and will be going through the program of studies and our courses here at the high school. So here she is.
Thank you. I also have Mrs. Dunn here. She is part of the counseling team up here at the high school. As Mrs. McKenna had mentioned, we are so excited to welcome the class of 2027. The next 4 years are actually going to fly by. I'm sure you're thinking, I can't believe my baby's already in high school. And I am here to tell you, it goes by in a flash. So I first want to start with everybody take a deep breath and exhale. You are in good hands. Okay, I know this is scary, sending your baby off to high school, but we know what we're doing. We've been doing it for a while, and we have a ton of support. So please rest assured that you are in good hands. A few housekeeping things that I just want to mention prior to my start of the presentation. We have the Jaguar Junction store open for your convenience tonight. I don't know if any of the kids here or the students want to go peruse some of our Jag wear, but that is open and it will be open until after the presentation. We are also going to email the presentation out to you all. We are also, I'm told I'm not allowed to say taping. I'm showing my age, we're recording this presentation, so we will have that up on our website tomorrow as well. We have given all the students these pink sheets, which are electives that they can choose next year. All students were given that in 8th grade. All students were given the program of studies. If you wanted an extra pink sheet, I do have some more up here. If anybody is interested in them. And then I know a few might be in attendance tonight, a few new families that might have spoken to Diane Figaro. And if you are, come see me. I have a program of studies for you as well, and welcome to Windham. Also, we met with all the 8th grade students today, and I know we gave them a ton of information. A lot of information is not going to mean a whole lot to you right now, but we wanted to mention it just so it can open up conversations. We have strategically opened our portal March 6th and closed it on March 17th for students to register for classes. And when I say strategic, we did that because middle school has parent-teacher conferences the first week, and then the high school has parent-teacher conferences the second week. And so that way, if there are some recommendations that were done or not done at the high school and you really wanted to talk to one of the directors about an override or possibly challenging your student, then we'll have some time in the next few weeks during parent-teacher conferences or the weeks after to meet with one of our directors. Okay? So I think Mrs. Dunn's just going to tag team with me and jump in anytime I leave something out. So the agenda tonight, again, program of studies, the graduation requirements, scholars and certificates. We're going to talk about GPA. We're going to talk about the Bell schedule, the 9th grade schedule, course selections, and then I'll open it up for any questions that you all might have.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So in the PowerPoint that you will be receiving, we will also be sharing the link to the program of studies. So we explained to the 8th graders today that they are the only group of students who received the hard copy book. Our current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders will be receiving the program of studies just via this link, and it is on our website. So if at any point you want to look through the program of studies, you can easily access it through the Windham High School website. Again, we are going to be talking about in this program of studies, there's the list of classes, there's different programs we have, there's different supports, our clubs, activities, homework expectations, and so much more. We have two types of high school diplomas from Windham High School. We have the traditional 24-credit diploma, and I'll go through those requirements in the next slide, and we also have the 20-credit Windham High School Career and Technical Diploma. Both of these diplomas, you need to earn these credits as well as earn 40 hours of community service. And based on kind of your direction, your children's direction, talking with your counselor and finding out what is the best path for them. So the 24 credits. Any high school that you go to, they have their own graduation requirements. Windham High School has a 24-credit graduation requirement. We have some students who graduate with 32 credits, 31, 30. 24 is the minimum. Within those graduation requirements, you have to reach certain criteria. So you need 4 years of an English. You need a half a credit, a half a semester of writing, 3 credits of social studies, 4 credits of math, 3 credits in science, a half a credit of an ICT, which is your computer class, information and computer technology classes, an art credit, so that's 2 half credits of art, or it could be a full credit if you're taking band or chorus, a half a credit of wellness, which is our health class, a full credit of human performance, which is our PE/gym class, and then an extra open electives, which is 6.5 credits to reach the 24. If you notice, we do not have a graduation requirement of a foreign language. Okay, so that would be considered electives. We only require 3 years of a social studies, 3 years of a science. Any additional years that you take, those go towards electives. So electives can be full year classes in addition to, say, computer science or engineering or marketing, accounting, all the other different types of classes that we have. The 20-credit career and technical diploma, a big difference is you only need 2 years of a science and a half a credit of an art. You do need to hit the career readiness program. That could be taking a work study, an internship, and then in addition to that, you need the 4.5 electives to reach the 20 credits. All of these requirements will be listed on page 7 and 8 in the program of studies, and it will also be shared. We're going to be sending you a packet of information, and it lists for you out very nicely for you to see graduation requirements and then going above and beyond, which we'll explain on the next slide. So you need 40 hours of community service in order to graduate from Windham High School. We tell the students to think about it as 10 hours of community service each year, but we also explain to the students that they can go above and beyond these requirements. I have a student right now with 500 hours of community service. And we explain to the students, it's great to give back to the community,
But we also ask them, how else can this help you? How can showing that you are giving back to the community and have 500 hours or 100 hours or 50 hours show the type of person that you are, right? And when you enter high school, we're also planning for the next steps after high school. So that is building your resume now. That's lists of activities, that's lists of clubs, sports, music, and also community service. So the more that you volunteer, right? They understood that it's not getting paid for this. We have a community service director, Mrs. LaMontagne, and she sends out weekly emails to students giving them lists of opportunities. So there is plenty of community service that's available. You can certainly find your own, but we offer suggestions to students as well.
So we have a new program that if you are not the first time as an 8th grade parent, where we used to do sheets and you would put down your community service hours, we now have a program that tracks those hours, and it's called X2Vol. So what your child will do is they will actually log into X2Vol and they will provide their activity, and then they'll provide a verification email. And once that verification email is verified, then we will approve the hours. So it's really their own tracking, but it has to be verified from somebody outside of the family. The other thing for community service is it doesn't start until the first day of high school. So if you're planning on doing any community service hours, they're not starting until the first day of high school, and then it goes for the 4 years. We do try to do, as Mrs. Dunn said, 10 hours per year. When they are going to start looking at driver's ed and driving, they'll need to have 20 hours completed in order to apply for a parking pass and be able to drive on campus. So, scholars and certificates. And again, we'll go over this year after year after year. So if you don't get it, or as far as, what do I have to do for New Hampshire Scholar, it will start every year. We'll talk about it, and we'll give every student an opportunity to make sure that they're on the right track if that's what they're looking for. They can go above and beyond the graduation requirements. Again, Mrs. Dunn said 24 credits for graduation. However, if you're a New Hampshire Scholar, you can get a certificate and an emphasis in the art field, the STEM field. We have a STEAM Academy certificate, we have a business certificate, and we have a global leadership certificate. And those all require a little bit more than what we're asking for graduation. The additional things that they need are 2 years of a foreign language, a 0.5 of social studies, and then 3 lab sciences, as well as maintaining a 3.0 and a 3.2 in the particular classes. National Honor Society, where we talked about a lot. This is something that typically junior year, senior year are when you qualify for National Honor Society. But the reason that we wanted to bring this to your attention is there's 4 pillars, and the pillars really do play into everything your student starts here at the high school. They're looking for leadership, they're looking for character, service hours, and a 3.7 or higher for the GPA. So I know a lot of people think, I have a 3.7 or I have a 3.8, so I'm automatically in National Honor Society. You have to apply for it just as a 3.7 or higher, but then you have to fulfill the service hours, leadership, and character. And so when your student is selecting their community service hours, it's really important the kind of hours that they're selecting. So you really want to be diversified, and you want to show a passion for a particular, community service, and show some type of leadership. So they'll fill out applications. Again, we'll talk about this sophomore year and then again junior year, but we wanted to kind of bring it to your attention your freshman year just so you're thinking about it. GPA, we told the kids today in middle school, they're not earning GPA and they're not really earning credit. Here at the high school, that starts on the first day here when you're at the high school, and GPA and credits are everything, because if you don't have the credits, you cannot graduate. So it really is important. Your grade point average is weighted on a 4.0 weighted scale, meaning that an A, 93 to 96% in a college prep class is a 4.0. An A in an honors class is a 4.33, so it's weighted. It's weighted a little bit more. And then an A in advanced placement class is a 4.67. AP classes are advanced placement classes. They're basically on the college level. They're based out of a 5.0 system, so if you got an A+, you would get a 5.0 towards your GPA. And we do have some that are offered for ninth graders. So we have US Human Geography, and we have AP Computer Science Principles. So if somebody wanted to start their high school career with an AP and earn college credit, there is an exam that's mandatory when you take an AP class, and they take an exam in May. We have several students that have 5, 6 APs, and May is a crazy time for them because we have 2 weeks of AP exams. But if they earn a 3, 4, or 5 on those exams, depending on the college and their requirements, they could earn college credit. So I know that my kids took advantage of the AP system when they went to Salem. They were, I'm old, so they went to Salem and didn't get to be here at Windham, but they started their college career with 6 credits. So that was really exciting because it was inexpensive for me and really a leg up for them.
So continuing with GPA, what we told the students today, GPA, grade point average, are the scores that you earn in high school. It's hard to really have them understand the 4.0 scale and the 3.67. What we tell them is that it's getting good grades. There's a big difference coming from middle school to high school. Today we stressed the importance of homework. Okay, students have to complete homework. In the program of studies, it talks about homework expectations. There could be 30 minutes to 60 minutes of homework every night in a class. It's important that you guys as family are speaking about homework, looking at Schoology, looking at Power School, and just stressing that the GPA, the grades you earn freshman year in 9th grade, is really setting you up. It's difficult to change your GPA and bring up those grades based on after you've completed freshman year. So what we stressed today with students, although we went over GPA, we spoke about completing homework and really focusing on getting those good grades, meeting with teachers. There's so much support here at the high school. We also touched upon that you could see that if you earned a B+ in an honors level class, so a B+ in an honors level, you could see that's an 87 to an 89, but your GPA would be a 3.67. And if you earned a B+ in a college prep level class, so say you took college prep cultural foundations compared to honors cultural foundations, and you still earned an 87 in both of those classes, one GPA would be a 3.33 and one would be a 3.67. So we explained by challenging yourself and taking that honors level class, you're still getting the extra 0.33 GPA, just like it does with the AP classes as well. So the first day to register for classes is Monday, March 6th. This is the day after we get back from February break, and you have 2 weeks to sign up for classes. This is not like kindergarten registration. It is not first come, first serve. Okay, so you are able, it doesn't matter if you sign up for a class on day 1 or you wait until March 17th. We don't recommend waiting until March 17th because you want to make sure that the classes are open to you. And I can explain on the next couple of slides what that means. So we explained to the students, by registering and selecting a class, that's how our master schedule is made. We don't know who's teaching what next year. We don't know how many sections are running. Okay, so if we have 5 students that sign up for jewelry, then maybe we have 1 section. If we have 50 that sign up, maybe we have 3 sections. We also explained to the students to check the prerequisites, and that's in another slide. So we talk about prerequisite, pre-required class, right? You break down that for them. On page 40 in the program of studies, so if any student has this, we went over how to read the program of studies with the students today. What I had them do is take a look at pages 28 through 37. By taking a look at pages 28 through 37, there's a list of every single class that Windham High School offers. And there's an amazing classes. I had them put a check mark or a highlight next to classes that interest them. And I bring up an example, okay? Let's just say I found sports marketing interesting. It shows the page number where the description of the class is. So we all turn to page 40, and we read the description of sports marketing. Then I asked them the questions. Who can take this class? Under the name of the class, it has grades 11 and 12. So they're learning how to read the program of studies. Is it a full year class or a semester class? All full year classes receive 1 credit, and all half year classes, semester classes, receive 0.5 credit, a half a credit. So they understood the difference between credits. We talked about prerequisites. A prerequisite to sports marketing is marketing. So then we turned back to page 39, and we read the description of marketing. And the prerequisite for marketing was business. So I spoke to the students and explained, you're coming in and you're choosing your freshman year classes. It can be overwhelming, it can be scary. Right now, I want you to think about a 4-year plan. What are some classes that you might take in 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade? Because if sports marketing is a class that you really want to take, and you don't make that plan until your senior year, you may not have enough room in your schedule, or you may not have met the prerequisite to take those classes. So really a big thing that I would focus on as families is going home and looking through the program of studies and really focusing on pages 28 through 37, and then reading about classes that interest you. The bell schedule. So the bell schedule is different than the middle school schedule, but it's similar in ways. So I learned today that on Wednesdays is Wildcat Wednesday at the middle school. And the high school has Jaguar Mondays. Okay, this is where all of our classes meet. We run on a block schedule with 8 blocks. So on Monday, all 8 of our classes meet. Our classes are numbered and lettered 1 through 4, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, and so on. Your A-day classes meet on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and your B-day classes meet on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So every Tuesday, Thursday are your A-day classes. Every Wednesday and Friday are your B-day classes. So they know their schedule for the entire year. Okay, you know, right now, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm not sure what the middle school schedule is, what day it is. So it's really set, and I find it much easier to understand. Up here, you can see that we have 3 different lunches. The lunches, every student, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, can all be in different lunches. So you are eating with all 4 grades. Your lunch will depend on who you have for a teacher. Students will find out their lunches on August 22nd. I'll explain that in a second. That's going to be new student orientation, freshman orientation for incoming 9th graders. The rest of the high school students won't find out lunches until their first day. We also have advisory. Advisory is like pause or homeroom. You can see advisory only meets Tuesday through Friday for about 15 minutes. Advisory is for like homeroom. You're going to have morning announcements. If we ever have a class assembly, students get called down from advisory so they're not missing class time. You will be with these students, only students in your grade, for all 4 years, and you will have the same advisory teacher. So each of your students will have a school counselor. That's myself, Mrs. Lickman, Mrs. Hess, Mrs. Ortiz, or Mrs. Badley. And every one of your students will have an advisory teacher. Someone else in the building who knows them for 4 years, and someone else that they can turn to, in addition to their teachers and in addition to their school counselor. Does anyone have any questions about the bell schedule? And I know we're throwing a lot of information at you, so if you do have questions, feel free to raise your hand and I can interrupt and answer them as we go.
Okay, so the 9th grade schedule, really there's not a whole lot, it's very prescribed. There's not a whole lot of choices. So it's cultural foundations, it's English and social studies, it's 2 credits, and your child is going to get recommended for honors, or the CP portal will open. When I said that we strategically planned our portal opening around middle school. When you have your middle school conferences with your teachers, they will tell you at that time what they recommended your child for. Did they recommend them for honors cultural foundations? Did they recommend them for honors biology and what their math is? All math teachers recommend every student for the math class that will open for them, so that class is what's going to be opened. Now, cultural foundations must have an A in English and in social studies. If your child's really great in English and maybe not as much in social studies, they're probably not going to get recommended for honors cultural foundations. Again, remember, it's 2 classes. Foreign language, we recommend that if your child is on the track for a 4-year college. Most colleges, especially some of the more competitive ones, do require 2 years of a foreign language, and it's the same language. So if you're taking Spanish at the middle school, you would go into 1.5 Spanish or 2 up here, but then you would need a second one. So it doesn't matter if you took it at the middle school, it matters what you take at the high school. It has to be 2 of the same language. I know if we have some French kids out there or students out there, I know that middle schools have a little bit of an influx with the French department, so we are prepared to meet you where you're at. If we need to add a few more French 1 classes because maybe you feel like your student didn't get the preparation that they needed in middle school, we can do that as well. So it is very request driven. Yes. So it will actually open up for French 1 and French 2. So there isn't a French teacher, but we can, Josh, is that what we're going to do? Yes. So it will open up 1 or 2, and then you can decide how comfortable you feel. We'll also be checking the grades that they did in French. If you feel good that they're getting, the foundations in French, absolutely go into French 2. But if you feel like they're not, then put them in French 1. Okay, but if they're in French 2, they're going to have to do French 2 and French 3. French 1, French 2, right? They'll automatically have to do a writing. The question will it be honors writing or CP writing? And when we say CP, it's college prep. Human performance, which will be HP, that will automatically be in their schedule. And wellness will automatically be in their schedule. And then the electives. Now, depending if they're taking a world language or a foreign language, or if they're taking band and chorus, that might limit the number of electives you can choose. Because we only have 8 blocks throughout the day, and we really recommend that every freshman have a study. So if they're going to register for credits, they need 6.5 as a minimum, and I would suggest 7 as a total. If you have a student that really likes to challenge themselves, does not utilize study halls, you can pick up to 8 credits. And then they will have 8 credits and no study hall. Again, if they're taking a foreign language and say band, we might have to push off like HP or wellness for a year, and they can take that sophomore year just to accommodate the foreign language and band or chorus. Also, go ahead.
I can go into more detail with that too. So Mrs. Lickman just went over everything, and I should have turned to this slide as she was speaking. This is more of a visual, and this is what the students filled out today with the school counselors. So they received a sample that looks just like this. We call this the matrix view. And then they wrote in their classes that they will take. So Cultural Foundations, it is a full year, 2-block class, so it's 2 credits. Biology or honors biology is a full year class, that's 1 credit. Math, if they are currently in algebra now, they will have the options of taking CP geometry or honors geometry. If they are in 8th grade math now, they can go into algebra or CP algebra. There is no honors algebra for the freshman class. If they choose to take a language, you can see that's another full credit. So then we talked about credits. We had them add this up. What if this was your schedule? What if you only took math, science, a foreign language, and your English and social studies, right? So they were able to say how many credits that they're taking right now. And they showed how many credits they have left. In 4B, we put in a study hall. You do not earn credit for a study hall. It's recommended to have a full year of a study hall. Keep in mind, that means if they had a 4B study hall, they would have a study hall on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wellness, writing, and gym is required. Human performance, I'm sorry. And that leaves with an extra square, an extra 0.5 credit. So this is where they were able to look on the back of their pink sheets and see all the different classes. If a student is taking band or chorus or orchestra, it doesn't fit into that perfect little 0.5 square because it's a full year class. If that's the case, just like Mrs. Lickman said, and they're taking a foreign language, and they want chorus or band or orchestra, and a full year study hall, they would have to push off their HP PE class until 10th grade. Unless, of course, they wanted, to take just a half a year of a study hall. This is where it's personalized to your student, how they feel that they do in school. Do they utilize study halls? High school is at a much quicker pace than middle school. Are they doing homework already in middle school? This is where it's completely up to the family, but you can speak to the current middle school teachers, the middle school counselors, or reach out, to the directors or counselors up at the high school. This is the list of classes that are open to freshmen, and it's in the back of the sheet. Yes, question? No, it does not. No, the state requires students take HP, and you do need 2 years of that. So that could be freshman, sophomore. You can push it off till senior year.
2 credits, like 1 full credit.
Sorry, what? Yes.
Because writing drops off.
And same as wellness. Wellness and writing, you only have to take that once, and it's a freshman class.
Can you modify your schedule mid-year so you take study hall first half and like want to not take the second half? Is that an easier change to make?
Yes.
It's easier to put the class in first and drop it than put it in second, because then you have very limited. It's okay. Okay, so how to register. So the students are going to log in with Clever. They're going to go on to their Power School, and they're going to see navigation bar. And again, they got a copy of this as well. Class registration, you're going to select 6.5 credits. That's the minimum. You can certainly go 7, 7.5, or 8. Select 3 alternatives. And the reason we say this is, and we told the students today, if you really want to take ceramics, putting ceramics 3 times is not going to better your chances, okay? So when they say ceramics, make sure you put 2 other alternatives that you wouldn't mind. When we say that it's a first come, first serve, there is kind of a, I hate to use the word pecking order, but we do load the students senior, junior, sophomore, freshman. And the reason we do that, and I know it's I can't believe you're doing that to me now in 9th grade. You're going to be so excited when we do it to you in senior year, because everything's going to be open, you're going to get loaded first, and you're going to get pretty much any class that you want. So do I know that the ceramics classes do fill up very quickly? Yes, they do. Have we put some 9th grade students in that class? Yes, we have. However, make sure that if you want photography, ceramics for a particular, art class or an elective, it's okay if you don't get it freshman year, but put a couple different choices and hopefully you'll get one of those. The reason we ask you to put alternatives is when we're going over the schedules, and we look at every schedule before we send it out, and if there's holes in the actual schedule, and they say, oh, okay, we saw that they recommended or they wanted ceramics, and they didn't get ceramics, we need to go to an alternative, and then we can kind of play with the schedule and get you your second alternative. If you only put ceramics, then we're going to put you in a class, and you might not be happy with that class. And the reason that we need, so when we're going to give the students their schedules prior to school ending, they'll have until they leave for summer vacation to get those schedules if there's any changes. They're very limited on the number of changes that we allow, and that is because we make sure that they get all their classes that they need. So we guarantee they're going to have their cultural class. We guarantee they're going to have a math class. They're going to have their science class, a writing. but the electives are to see if they fit into the schedule or not. We do all our ordering over the summer, so our classes kind of need to be set in order to say, okay, I know in my jewelry class, there's a cap of 18 just because of space. 18 kids, I'm ordering for 18 kids in the jewelry class, and if I have, certain kids that drop the class, then I have overspent. So we really do all our planning and our ordering due to the numbers that are in the classes. So we cut off any changes to the schedule prior to going on summer break. And the other thing is that the school counselors do not work over the summer, so there's no one here to even make any changes. So we'll give you enough time to look at your schedule. We go over it with the students during step-up day, and oftentimes if they're missing a particular class, we can fix it before they even leave for step-up day, okay? So this is, again, how to register. See where it says Cultural Foundations. Honors Cultural Foundations is not open. It does not have a little box by it, and that means that this student was not recommended for honors, so this is the only choice they have. If there is a problem in the system and you were recommended and for some reason it's not opening, Mrs. Stewart, who works at middle school, she's one of the school counselors, she used to work up here, and she is very versed in scheduling, and she can certainly help you. If not, you can certainly email me, email one of the counselors up here. We did make a list and post it in the social studies classes. Mr. Kingsley and I want to say Mrs. McCorkle, what's her new name? Hager. Mrs. Hager. They posted it in there, and so every student is listed, their advisory is listed, and their school counselor is listed. Okay, so you will have access to that, and you could email us as well. Course overrides, and so we introduced these lovely people over here. Do you have a question? Yes. Have you registered with Mrs. Figueroa already? Yeah, Diane. Yes. So what we do is for anybody who is moving in, we assign counselors and advisories, and then we will, if we know now, we can also put classes in for you as well. Yes. Yep. We have an ongoing Google sheet and knowing who's coming in, and so we're ready for you. Okay, so course overrides. So again, I had mentioned that at the middle school, the parent-teacher conferences, your math teachers, your science teachers, and your English and LA teachers have made recommendations for your students. If you feel like they were on the cusp, say they were in 85 one semester, had a bad semester, and you really want that student, your child, to be challenged, you can meet with one of the directors, and their emails are right here, their names are right here, and it's always the first initial last name at windhamsd.org. They work at middle school as well. They're actually 512. And then they will set up an appointment, they will talk to you, and they will do overrides for you if they feel that they've met the criteria. The most important date to know is this has to be completed by March 24th. And we say that because I have to build the master schedule. And if it goes much more than the 24th, it usually takes me about 3 weeks to load all the students, to load all the courses, load all the sections, and sometimes I'm chasing kids for schedules. So by March 24th, because this dictates it. So say you want an override. If they give 4 or 5 overrides, that might push me to a new section, and I might have to offer 4 honor section versus 3 honor sections, and I need to have enough teachers to cover that. Does that make sense? That's why we have to have overrides. Mrs. Croto. Great point. Did everybody hear what Mrs. Croto said? So go to your teacher first, and then you can email one of the directors. Perfect. Again, this is a huge thing and kind of a shift in thinking for middle school students because they are not earning credit at middle school. So it really does matter once you start at the high school because you have to earn 6 credits to be promoted to 10th grade. Now, it's not going to be a big thing, oh, you're not in 10th grade, but you're not going to have enough credits, and then you're going to play catch-up every year. So you really need to pass all your classes. And so when I say that, I tell the students, do not suffer in silence. We have a ton of resources up here. We do have an executive functioning coach. Shout out to Mrs. Fleming. We have a directed study here. We have academic studies. We have teachers' hours before school, after school. We have the media center that is staffed by a certified teacher at least 2-3 times per week. And then we have an after-school homework club called Shock. So there are many opportunities for your student to be successful. Again, open communication for them from the family to the counselors, to the teachers. This will help your child have a successful 4 years here at the high school. Again, recommended, recommended 10 hours of community service. And I tell you this because we have had many seniors during senior week doing work for us in guidance to get their hours. So please do not be that student. If you do it 10 hours at least a year, then by senior year, you're going to be golden and we're not scrambling for hours. Yes, we will not graduate anyone if they have not done the 40. It is a graduation requirement, and we don't have a whole lot of wiggle room there. So, what's next? We want you to review the program of studies. Everyone should have had a copy. Highlight the classes that interest you. Look at pages 28 through 37. Talk to middle school teachers for proper placement in classes. Again, you'll have that opportunity the first week in March for their parent-teacher conferences. Sign up for classes between March 6th and the 17th. And if anyone needs to meet with the directors, do that by the 24th. And Mrs. Dunn had mentioned something about freshman orientation. That is Tuesday, August 22nd at 3 o'clock. So if you're making summer plans, hopefully you can work around this date. Talk to me if you already have this lovely cruise planned. But Tuesday, August 22nd at 3 p.m. will be the student orientation. Will be for any new students and all 9th graders. They'll come in around 3 o'clock. They'll get their laptops that day. We'll have pizza, might do a scavenger hunt, and they will have their, they'll have their schedules, and we'll do a tour of the school as well. You'll also have to attend a technology training in order to receive the laptops. And what else was I just going to say about new student? The extracurricular fair. We told the students that the more active they are, the research shows that they are going to be better academically. And so we give them a few weeks to get acclimated to the high school, and then the third week, it's typically around the 21st, 22nd of September, we have a club and extracurricular fair during lunch, so every student can participate. We usually have about 35 different tables, different clubs, that are staffed by either their advisor or students that belong to that club, and students can sign up. So we have about 88% of our students that are active in either art clubs, extracurricular, sports, theater, and we're really proud of that because there's something for everyone. And if there is a club that your student wishes that we had and we didn't, all they need are 10 students to make a new club and an advisor willing to take it on. So I'm hoping that everyone finds something here because we have a lot to offer. Am I good? Okay, so a lot of information. Any questions?
Yes. How do I know which class belongs to CP or honor or AP?
It should say the class right next to it. So if it's honor, like if it will say honors cultural foundations, you know that's an honors. It's yep. And it'll say AP, and that means an AP will be advanced placement. Yep, they'll all sure.
We are going to oversee. So the August 22 will be the first day for the student to meet something in the high school.
The 22nd will be, it's really more of a kind of their first step-up day, if you will. Everybody will step up on June 4th, which when I say step up, it means that the 4th grade will go to 5th grade, so Golden Brook will go to center school, 6th grade will go to 7th grade to middle school, and then the 8th grade will come up here to the high school. It really is just an hour and a half to come up here, talk about sports, talk about their schedule, and they will then go back to their school. On the 22nd, all the 9th grade and any new student that are registered over the summer will come here. They'll get their laptop, and it's from 3 to 6. So it's only 3 hours. And then they'll get we'll talk about their schedule again, and we'll get them ready for the first day of school, which will be in a week after that. June 14th will be June 14th will be 1 hour here, step up. Is your student currently at the middle school? Yes, so then we'll bus them up here, and they'll come up here on the 14th, just from like 9 to 10:30. All of them are coming. So if you're not going to, are you not going to be in town? Is that what you're saying? Okay, if you're not, then we can catch you up. So that's okay, but anyone who is at middle school in 8th grade will be coming up on the bus and coming up here. Okay? Anybody? Yeah? Mac Pros? Mac Airs? Yeah, Mac Airs. Anybody else? Questions? Oh, really good. Yeah. Absolutely. Really great question, and then we should have mentioned it. So what she is asking is, do we have dual enrollment classes, or do we have any early college programs? And yes, we do. So in New Hampshire, it's called Running Start, and we have 3 Running Start classes right now. If you take pre-calc, calc, or anatomy and physiology, then you earn college credit at taking it here at the high school. We also have a dual enrollment with Southern New Hampshire University. So during senior year, if your student wants to take an honors college writing class, it is, I think it's $125. And so if anybody's paid for college, you know that's a very inexpensive 3 college credits. We offer that first semester and second semester. We also, the governor of New Hampshire has signed a grant for any New Hampshire student to take 2 free STEM classes at the Manchester or Nashua Community College, and that's for free. So if you sign up for anatomy and physiology and or pre-calc here at the high school, it's actually free and you get 3 college credits. We also have an agreement with Northern Essex, which is a community college in Massachusetts, and they are offering Windham High School students $179 a credit, or $379 for a full course, and they can take that online or they can go in person. So if you really were motivated, you could almost earn your associates before you graduated from high school. So yeah, great point. Thank you for bringing that. That is it should be on our website under guidance as well. Yep.
We can email it to you.
Yep. Anyone else? Yep. Yes. The question was about community service hours. Will there be more information? Yes. What's appropriate, what's not. We have had some students say, I helped my grandmother clean out her house. Probably not. It's really nice. You probably should do that anyway. So we have had to, we have had some requirements, and we've had to kind of push back on some things for community service. But yes, we will have that outlined for you, so there'll be no question on what's approved and what's not approved. Yes, she said she puts a newsletter together. She also does a lot of internships. We have internships and students that are doing internships, externships. We've had some students that have gone and done some medical research, which we were really excited about, and they loved our students so much that they actually had us back the next year. So great opportunities. If you all have any ideas that we haven't thought of, and want to run that by us, we're always open to new initiatives and more opportunities for our kids. So we're very excited. Go ahead. Coach, yep. Great question. How would your child get into an executive functioning course? So typically, we have an SST team, which is a student support team, and so we meet on a weekly basis. It would be a teacher recommendation, a parent recommendation, and we would run them through that SST team, and then we could put them in an executive functioning, or we could put them in a directed study. And if you have a student that is identified with an IEP, they would be in an FOL, which is the Foundations of Learning, which is like a directed study where they get their services and they earn credit. So executive functioning, directed study, and FOL are all half-year courses that are offered full year, and you would get a half a credit for those. Yep. Yep, great question. So the question was about any other world language or foreign language courses. We offer Latin, French, and Spanish here. I have had some students take sign language online, and that is recognizable, by the colleges. So they could take it, if VLAX, and VLAX is kind of, it's a Virtual Learning Charter Academy. It's an accredited high school. It's online, and it's free to any New Hampshire student. The difference for VLAX, if you take a VLAX class, is it doesn't compute into our GPA. A class here taken at the high school computes into your GPA, and if you don't take it, here, it doesn't. If the only exception to that is if it's an AP class, and that's because it's nationally vetted, and so any AP class, depending on where you take it, would get calculated into the GPA. But yes, we are open to others. We've had some students do Mandarin. We used to offer Mandarin when we first opened, and our teacher moved, and we haven't been able to replace the teacher since. So yeah, we're definitely open to that. Yeah. There's not a VLAX is free. There are definitely is it Brigham? BYU. They that is for you pay money, but that is an online college as well. If somebody is willing, to pay.
There's a lot of colleges that offer high school programs. So Brigham Young University has high school classes, but they would cost money.
Yeah, but you can. And because a world language is not a requirement for graduation, we have a lot more flexibility on what students take and how they get their 2 years. But again, if you're looking for a competitive college, and we use UNH because that's kind of our home, in-state college, they require 2 years. Yep.
If we did a foreign language via the BYU scenario, as an example, would they get credit towards their 24 hours?
Yes. So it wouldn't be calculated into the GPA, but it would be on the transcript. The grade would be on the transcript, and the credit would be on the transcript. Yep. Yep. Great. Yep. Great question. CTE. Yes. So technically, CTE is open to 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. When I say technically, because not a lot of 10th graders can fit it into their schedule with our kind of prescribed classes that they need for graduation. So typically it is an 11th grade and 12th grade program, and it's a 2-year program, and we bus students over to Salem and in Pinkerton.
Are those students allowed to go up also?
Yes, if it can fit in their schedule. Yep, absolutely. I did, is Chief Puzo, where's he? Oh, there he is, right here. I'm sorry. We have Chief Puzo here who's going to talk about ROTC. That is another program that is open to 9th grade. And if you want to come up and we'll do your slides.
I also have a CTE presentation, so with the early college, with the CTE, I will be emailing everybody all of this information.
Okay, while Julie's waiting to find the presentation I sent her, if you did get a copy of our presentation, I know it's small lettering, but you can certainly follow along with that. I am Chief Master Sergeant Tom Puzo from Salem High School's Air Force Junior ROTC program. I'm one of two instructors over there, along with Major James Blazak. We teach the program over at Salem High School. And like Julie said, your kids can come over as freshmen all the way through their senior years. Some of the kids you see out front, the four cadets we see out front, one's a sophomore, the other three are seniors. One's a junior, the other two are seniors, and they've been in the program all 4 years as well. So it's easily able to fit into the schedule. You know, just give it to guidance counselors. They can work their guidance counselor magic, but certainly it's easy to do. So I'll start here until they find the thing. So our mission statement is develop citizens of character. And we do that through leadership development and through teaching the aerospace sciences. The major teaches aerospace science courses. There's 4 of them. And I teach the leadership education courses. And we probably have the most varied curriculum in all of Salem High School and probably Windham High School of just what we teach over a given year in all 4 years. It's a good, what we do, Major and I provide the leadership, the curriculum delivery, the supervision, the mentorship. The kids, or the cadets, treat this as a typical military base, and they actually run the program over there through jobs and everything else they do. We have 14 and 15-year-olds in our program. In one case, he's 15-year-old. He's in charge of our uniform equipment and curriculum account, valued at around $70,000. Now, you're not going to find a 14 or 15-year-old anywhere else that has that responsibility. That could go right on a transcript, right on a job application and resume when they apply for colleges, when they apply for jobs. We try to instill value of citizenship. It's all right up there. Instructors, we have a combined 50 years of military service and 33 years of high school teaching experience and 3 years of college teaching experience. And I want to highlight that bottom bullet in yellow. We are not here to recruit your kids for the military. It's not what we do. We are actually barred by law from doing it and by Title 10 U.S. Code. Some kids choose to go in the military. Only approximately about 4%, just over 4% of the kids that take our program choose to go in the military. So you can see it's not where we're pushing them in the military. Well, actually, 2 of the kids out there have chosen to go through, apply for military academies this year. One of those, he's not here tonight, but he's already received a full ride scholarship to ROTC. So some of our kids do go that route, but vast majority go on to college and other programs. Each of the credits, the kids get 0.75 credits, elective credits, and 0.25 PE core credits. So if they take our program over 4 years, they satisfy their PE requirement for graduation. The courses we're going to teach this year is Science of Flight, next year, Science of Flight, Communication, and Awareness. And that's a 200-level course. And then the seniors, no seniors in it, all 8th graders, but they move on to the Fundamentals of Management, and they have a capstone project they're required to do for graduation. And you can see some of the other things we do. We have our own Air Society. And actually this year, about 2 weeks ago, they changed the name of that to Kitty Hawk Honor Society to more link it with the other honor societies they have throughout the high school program. It's a national recognized honor society, very similar to National Honor Society. And 3 of those cadets out there are all National Honor Society, or should I say Kitty Hawk Honor Society cadets. So all 3 of them in the program. As you can see, we have a lot of scholarships that we provide for our kids too that are for cadets only. One of them is one of your seniors this year in that J100 scholarship, and he's going to probably attend in Penn State. He also has applied for the Air Force Academy, so he's waiting to hear if he got that appointment. If he didn't get the appointment, well, I think he has a pretty good fallback plan to go to college, all expenses paid. And we have some other programs as well. There's a flight training program that they offer to juniors. I think you have to be 16 years old, where it's a highly competitive program, and they take around 200 juniors going to the senior year during the junior summer, and they go off to one of 4 or 5 colleges in the Southwest. They take them from ground school all the way till they get their private pilot's license, all expenses paid, and they get college credits on top of that. So that's another program that the headquarters offers to our cadets, and we had one Windham student we submitted a couple years ago. He didn't make the short list. He was one of the finalists, but unfortunately he didn't make the short list and get selected. And all of our courses qualify for a New Hampshire Scholars Program as well. Slide. These are some of the extracurricular things we do. So other than the classwork, which is regular academic class for elective credit, a lot of our kids get heavily involved in some of these other things as well. And again, refer to some of the cadets out front that you see tonight, and they'll be there to answer your questions later. Two of them are in band, one's in chorus, one's a football player, and I would say out of the 12 or 13 Windham cadets we got in our program this year, they're all heavily involved in clubs, either in this school or in some of the clubs in Salem. Some are under CTE programs in Salem, engineering, auto tech, and also health occ. These are some of the other things we offer. We just stood up a robotics program this year where we build, design, and compete against other schools. And we have an academic challenge bowls. We compete against other programs, other service branches. And if we go as far as we have in recent years, we might be able to go on to DC and compete nationally. Again, all expenses paid. We have a flight ops program as well. And then we have a lot of our kids involved in community service. Salem High School does not have a community service requirement for graduation. Junior RTC does. We ask every one of our cadets to put at least 12 hours in per year during our programs. As you can see, and they could count those hours towards Windham as well. So they basically double count those hours. And we got that new program that you send over, and we just complete that. We sign off on it, and we submit it back, and then they get credit for their hours. Some more extracurricular activities. We have a summer leadership school we do every year with a couple other schools. There are 5 Air Force schools in the state. There's a total of 10 junior RTC programs in the state. So we go up to Center Stratford sometime in mid-August before school starts. We spend 5 days up there, or 3 days up there, 2 days back with Spalding High School, Auburn High School, sometimes at Pinkerton High School as well, Academy. We have a weekend encampment we do, and then we have the military ball, which is like a prom, except for only for junior RTC cadets, and that is rotated through each of the 5 programs, and the kids actually use that as their capstone project. It's cadets that plan the whole thing. All we do is make it legal by signing the documents and the contract, but the kids do all the planning, they do all the coordinating with the venues, and they plan the meals, the whole 9 yards, and that's where the seniors get their capstone project credit for. Drill teams, competition drill teams. Again, we had some of our cadets. Those happen to be 3 of the 4 cadets there are Windham cadets from some years ago, where they had a chance to meet a Medal of Honor recipient at the annual Liberty House breakfast. And of course, we've been 2-time champions for the last 2 years, the drill team champions, other than pre-COVID, because we had to shut down. We just set up our drill teams this year as well. That's how you could reach us. They have pamphlets we've handed out outside. The cadets you have copies of this slide presentation. The cadets are outside. I'll be outside to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I want to thank everyone for attending. We really appreciate it. I will be around, and the other administrators will be around for a few minutes if you have any questions. Either I will or Mrs. Dunn will be emailing all the presentations, and again with the CTE information. And our school store will remain open for another probably 15, 20 minutes. If anybody has any questions, we're here. Thank you for coming.